So, Ironheart is a thing.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Well, let's discuss. Is the trailer a crime or not? Firstly, I feel obligated to discuss one thing, and that's the talk around review bombing the trailer because of the race of the actress. I have seen no receipts or comments in this vein. The most I have seen race mentioned are people saying that why did they cancel Armor Wars and War Machine? They wanted to do something along the lines of a black replacement for Iron Man, or why did they not use other prominent black characters that they could have used, whereas everyone's kind of forgotten about Riri Williams and her comic book counterpart, like the comic book she was in, the Champions team, her comic books, which had Tony Stark feature and had her have a bit more of a link with Tony Stark, although she still did sort of steal his tech at one point. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, why are they making this character prominent when in All New, All Different Marvel in 2016, where they tried to make her a new thing, she doesn't have a lot of comic material, and what she has mostly been cancelled? That's the most I've seen race mentioned in groups and forums and message boards and Facebook and things. Things that I'm involved in. I've not seen anyone send racist abuse to actors, which rightly so. Don't do that. That's bullshit, and you shouldn't do it. Like, I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying there's a lot of discourse online around that kind of thing. And if you have a problem with an actor's race and a character's race, purely because she was written that way, why? Like, no, don't do that. But the most discourse I've seen around the trailer, firstly, the only discourse I've seen about race is why did they not use other prominent black characters? Why did they cancel Rhodey's Armor Wars film and then series? And then that's just completely in development hell / cancelled now, when they could have used him if they wanted to do an Iron Man-like replacement and give Dawn Cheadle something to do. Like, seriously, why did they do that? And I agree with that criticism. And there are other black characters that fill the role of black genius, like Shuri. She's essentially just playing American Shuri. But no hate on the actress, because it's not her fault. I blame the poor writing of her comic book counterpart, which will result in probably poorer writing here, because Tony Stark isn't even around to pass the torch, as they sort of did with the AI in the comics, or they tried to do and failed because everyone didn't like it, including myself. But is the trailer that bad? Let's talk about it. Well, they try to start off really well. Let's start with positive. They start off in a way that I think is, upon rewatching it, not very well founded, but at least a good attempt. In that she's given this challenge by the Hood, which is a Marvel villain that ends up fighting her, so we'll probably see that in the series. Spoilers. But she's given this challenge by the Hood to, terrible name, to show that she is intelligent, and told just to get out the elevator before the air just dies. I don't know whether they cut out more of her work, or they cut around it really weirdly, so I wish they'd left that full scene in, but it looks like she just hits the elevator until she can get to the panel with her jacket, and then hits it again and manages to pull open the door. Though they showed her being a bit skilled, and they tried to show that off, but it was too quickly cut together for my eyes to properly see what was going on. But I was glad that they did that, because I think that most people's complaints with her in Wakanda Forever, including my own, was Marvel needs to really stop doing the tell, don't show thing. They did it a lot, even in Born Again, with Vanessa, and with, I don't even remember her name, that's how forgettable a character. Kirsten, whatever the hell it was, her name was. She was told she was a great lawyer by Matt in a couple scenes. We never actually saw her doing any lawyering. It was mainly Matt. And I just like, if you're gonna show off as to why Matt would recruit her, use show don't tell in a visual medium like a Disney Plus series. Anyway, the point is, this trailer is basically leaking the tell don't show thing, which seems to be indicative of Marvel late since Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel 2 the Marvels was, in my opinion, better, and they tried to course correct with Captain Marvel's character. No shade on Brie Larson, she's just an actor. again, whenever I do this, no shade on any actors. They're just people doing a job, and they're being told to act like stiff boards of wood while acting, and it's really, really irritating. But I'm just saying that Marvel has this tell, don't show problem, and the rest of the trailer just felt like that. It was quickly intercut scenes where you see a new Ironheart suit, which, to be fair, did look cool, so I do like the suit, but everything is just... You're frustrated because you know you're great, and we all know you're great, but no one's really acknowledging it. Then they even have the point of a white professor say, you're not the smartest person at MIT, and you're not the only smart person here. And I'm like, yep, it's a race allegory thing again, and I don't know. It kind of worked better in the Winter Soldier Disney Plus series because that was part of Isaiah Bradley's backstory. That's what his character was, even though it was a bit full on, and it was just really depressing. It wasn't fun, and that's why I'm a bit loath of political narratives in recent times. In not just in Disney Plus, in Doctor Who, in any series I'm watching, because they seem to go really hard, hot and heavy with it, because they want to make the political point, mainly left-leaning, but I'm not choosing sides here. Any political points can ruin a narrative if not done intelligently and not written well. But they want to make the political point, and then the fun just gets sucked out of the room, and the fun of things like Doctor Who, the fun of Captain America and the Winter Soldier. There was one really fun episode in that, and that was when Bucky and Sam were fixing the sodding boat. The rest was just really annoying, and Sam going, "You've got to do better, Senator," and defending a woman that blew up a hospital with people and children still in it. I'm not playing the clip. Everyone plays the clip. I'm not doing it. But it was just very depressing, and the problem with political narratives and the tell don't show narrative that Marvel is having is, look, we're telling you how good they are, whereas you actually saw Stark in the cave building stuff from box of scraps. She talked about a supercomputer in Wakanda Forever because she managed to make it from the trash, which is apparently something a person can do, regardless of how much they have the intellect. And I don't think that would have annoyed me or other people as much if she just literally, if that was the scene you saw her coming back from, and she's carrying the computer, or part of the computer, and she hooks it up, after she's been assembling it in a sort of hidden place, and then she comes back and then meets the Wakandans still in her room. Like, show us the clever feats. I think that would have been really interesting to see, and it would have been more believable than her just saying, "Oh, my professors doubt me, so I built a supercomputer from scraps," which I'm just like, okay, those two things don't really marry up. Anyway, so was the trailer indicative of this problem? Yes, it was, because quite frankly, they had the beginning bit, which again I liked, so sticking with positives, I liked that. They showed her getting out the problem, although it was quick cut together, and I wish they'd shown a bit more of that particular scene. Then the rest was just, my professor is mean to me because he is a white old man, and my colleagues aren't acknowledging my greatness, whilst we say intercuts of the suit. Then one of her friends says she's going to go to jail, which I find really stupid and hilarious, because she wouldn't go to jail for building an Iron Man suit and saving people's lives, because that's what she's doing in the trailer. Because this is post-Sokovia Accords. We've seen Daredevil, where Daredevil acknowledges that superheroes are saving the world, and saving the cops from really dangerous threats they're not qualified to deal with, which makes it even dumber now I come to think of it that Kingpin manages to make an anti-vigilante task force law there, but it's Kingpin, and he's tried to do that before, and the logic of Born Again kind of falls apart the more I think about that. Sad. Anyway, so yeah, there's that too, but we've had it in recent Disney Plus series. We've had it acknowledged since Endgame that essentially heroes are a needed thing in this universe because there are threats you cannot deal with without them. If they find that Riri Williams' intentions are positive, are good, are pure and heroic, which I'm sure they're supposed to be, and hopefully they will be, then, I don't see the police actually pursuing her. And then a load of people piping up going, it's because of her race, and they're making a racial allegory to the real world. That may be possible, and it might be that she gets a harsh treatment from the police on her first outing because she's literally flying around in a nuclear bomb, essentially. And to be fair, the police are going to investigate that originally. I think anyone would, to want to know their intentions. but also stop making real racial allegory to our real world when this world is so far beyond our own. It has superheroes, it has magicians, it has wizards, it has Thor, it has a female version of Thor that was kind of there for a minute, was actually kind of cool, and then they killed her off, which was really sad. It has a lot of things that just genuinely can't come to mind right now because I'm an old man and my brain is dead. But it has a lot of things that don't marry up with our real world. The blip happened, for God's sake. Our world, their world's 5 years ahead of ours with a massive humanitarian crisis, courtesy of the Avengers, both accidentally murdering and then saving the world. That would cause the humanitarian crisis. Hence, what we saw in Falcon and Winter Soldier, with the now Captain America Sam Wilson, basically having to try and convince people to use the resources properly, but people were gone for years, so essentially they just don't have... Like, there's a lot going on in this universe that just doesn't marry up with our own. Stop trying to make real-world political, racial, or social allegory, because at this point it can only be at genuine surface level, good or bad. It can only be a genuine surface level comparison, because this world is so far beyond our own. So if her friend is arguing she's going to go to jail because she's a black person with a powerful suit, it's like, at the state of this MCU right now, they want as many heroes as they can possibly get. Yes, they may be suspicious originally, because they'll mean to investigate some idiot flying around in a suit once they realise she's apparently very intelligent and heroic, which is what the series, I'm presuming, is going to show her as being. I'm sure they'll be like, thank God, there's another one. We need as many as we can get. But this whole trailer just felt to me as if it was just, well, people don't believe I'm smart. You're building an Iron Man suit. Of course people believe you're smart. And just to define iconic, I would argue that the definition of iconic is something that stood the test of time / is incredibly new, innovative, and never been seen before, whereas she's using Stark's tech, and if they go from the comics, she will literally be stealing Stark's tech to make this new suit. Whereas the director and writers have actually been trying to pull away from that because they don't want people to compare her. But she is the successor in the comics, so they're obviously going to compare her. And I don't have hope for this because the trailer was all tell, don't show. And the one scene they could have really won me over with, they clunkily cut together, so I really hope that's better cut in the actual show itself. I will still watch it because I am still a Marvel fan. I am not saying you should prejudge without watching it. I'm judging from the material we have and saying I'm not excited. And this is not a race-based problem. It doesn't need to be. The only issue I have in terms of race is the racial and political allegory being drawn to our real world when this world is now so fundamentally different that there's basically no comparisons that can be reasonably made anymore. And the only other thing one could argue sensibly is that there are other black characters whose stories you cancelled and didn't do anything with to prompt her up, and other people are more connected with Rhodey if you want an Iron Man successor and Armor Wars and things like that. Those are the reasonable complaints. If anyone is complaining beyond that just because there's another black character, just, no, that's not my complaint anyway. You can feel how you want to feel, and I'm sure people will, but that's not my complaint. So if anyone says you have a race-based complaint, I've covered that one clearly enough. The problem with the trailer is not race of character, it's the fact that this just feels not fun. It isn't fun, it doesn't draw me in, it doesn't excite me for the project. It does one thing over and over and over again, which is have people tell you how great she is whilst showing interspersely bad cut clips. So I'm not excited. I'm going to watch it anyway, but I'm not excited. I also know the material it's based off of has mostly been cancelled or quashed down to the corner in the side, and she hasn't had a lot of interesting storylines. A lot of them have got cancelled because people haven't been buying them. So when they say fans aren't hyped for this, did they expect them to be? Because comic book fans weren't hyped for it. You can argue they have different motives, but you can't say that everyone is a racist, and you can't say that that's everyone's motive when not interested in a character. When their initial comic books did sell, but they fell off a cliff afterwards because the stories weren't interesting. So, and I just feel bad for the actors in this because they're just doing a job. So please, for God's sake, leave them alone when you talk about your discourse and your criticisms. But is the trailer a crime? I don't know if a crime's too far afield, but it's definitely just not exciting, not fun, and I'm not interested, intrigued, or otherwise bothered by this. I will still watch it, but I'm essentially starting from a place of indifference and genuinely hoping that I'm wrong. Because I'm a Marvel fan, and I don't want bad Marvel, and I don't want to shit on it. I hate making videos like this, but because I think, well, I sound like a grumpy old man, but I'm just being honest, and if you think I'm wrong, feel free to have reasonable discourse with me in the comments. But this trailer just wasn't exciting to me, and I'm wondering whether I'm the only one. So please comment below and let me know what you feel about all this. But Ironheart is here, and I can only end by saying a non-excited, non-enthusiastic, well, I really hope I'm wrong, but do you know what the really sad thing about this is that makes me even less excited? Is that Marvel clearly doesn't have any faith in this because they're dropping this over 2 weeks with 3 episodes per week. So this has been in the can, this has been done for 3 and a bit years. I'm not joking, you can look this up. This has been confirmed to be finished, effects and all, in 2022. So Marvel clearly doesn't have much faith in this. Kevin Feige was clearly stretched too thin and couldn't interfere or comment on this, hence why we've seen that is a pattern and a problem with the writing of some shows, and we've seen that is a pattern and a problem with Daredevil Born Again being the prime example, because they finally managed to watch it and they were like, we need to re-scrap. They scrapped a lot of that and then cobbled together a season 1. And I'm holding out hope for season 2 because the actual writing team can get to write properly for season 2, but season 1, I can't deny the criticisms of season 1 of that show. And as I say, from this video, I found another one. But anyway, it saddens me that the creators of the show, that Marvel themselves, the Kevin Feige themselves, are not really having faith in this. And if they're not having faith in it, if they're not excited, if they're not sure they can make something good with the source material of Riri Williams, then why the hell should I care about this character? It's just the She-Hulk problem all over again. It's not fun. It's bland. Hopefully its political points, if it makes any, will be done with more nuance than She-Hulk's was. And female characters won't be asked to act like dumb sticks of wood, and will actually have a personality, and they will show more than they will tell. I really hope this trailer isn't indicative of what we're going to get, but it's just not been fun for me, so I can't say any more than that. That's the end of the video, guys. Comment below what you think about all this, what you think about Marvel releasing this show in the release schedule they're going to. Do you have faith in this? I've never hoped I'm wrong more than anything, but that's the end of the video, guys. You can go now.